Welcome to the Neen Valley Role-Playing Association, a group of friends who like to play RPGs, role-playing games, and try and have fun. If you like the video, please like and subscribe.
Good evening and welcome back to East Texas University. Session 3 of this single session one-shot is now in order. And joining us this evening, we have the star player for the Fighting Ravens. It's Grace. Woo! Amazing Grace! Played by the inimitable Christine.
Look at that. She's so cool, she won't even wave.
I know. It's almost rude.
Like in a way.
We stapled her paws to the table so she wouldn't start reaching for the bacon too early.
This is getting a little bit
graphic.
It just that's let's calm it down a little bit. Right? And then the second of our regulars. Is that the right way to phrase them? Is a fish.
Yeah.
Pre-med expert fish. Played by Rob. And
Howdy doody.
welcoming him back. It's been a while. It's Andy. Played by Pete. Finally, we have a special guest appearance by GM of Wonders. Playing Sarah Jenkins, it's Anthony!
Hey!
Oh no, it's not that guy.
What's been happening?
I wondered if you were going to change it this week and go to Evelyn.
Or Manny. It would have been fun with Manny. Oh well.
So many people to choose from. And you had to play with the goth with hardly any tits. Terrible.
I do apologise.
I make up for it.
We don't.
Right. So, last session, you were able to track down more information about some of the goings-on that had happened on the East Texas University site when it was the East Texas Women's College. And you discovered that there was actually a building on the site of the William Greystone building. Or formerly there was a building there. You've been sent the blueprints of that building.
Oh, so it's been confirmed it was actually that building, the site.
Yes.
Yes.
So, I'm sorry, I should start from the top. 2 weeks ago,
I have read the notes, but there was a lot of coming and going. So I know that the team was trying to discover what was co-located.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was this whole thing: was it on the foundations? Was it on the same etc., etc.? But yeah, okay. So it's
foundations almost certainly not.
Yeah, but it's the same location.
It was the same location.
Gotcha.
Undoubtedly, it was the same location. You've had that confirmed by Dr. Salinero. So she has confirmed to you that this building, Valden House, was on the same location as the current location of the William Greystone building at one end, actually, and then the neighbouring building at the other end. Let's just move to the campus map so we can just confirm that particular detail.
Ah, I see. Because of course, yes, don't see the map in the notes.
Yeah, so she has confirmed that the Valden house was on this location.
Yep.
Just here between
And the
William Greystone
yeah.
and Building 19, which is the R.E. Lee Engineering and Applied Sciences building.
Okay. And the red square.
So when your companions were investigating, the red square is the classroom in which the apparitions were seen. So it's just an outline of those apparitions. And it turns out that when these two buildings were built, although they are separate buildings, they actually have a shared plant room.
Yes,
which
underneath
is in the basement of the building. And you've got this smaller area here, which is where the janitor hangs out. And then this is the outline of the plant room underneath the building.
Okay. Thank you.
So you have electrical disc boards, you have HVAC, you have other things in that area.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I've been trying to work out the timeline.
Okay.
So when Sherry Meadows saw the apparition that terrified her, what was the date?
The date is not important, but it was Monday evening.
Monday evening.
It is currently October the
20th-ish, which is Monday. So what would it be? 20th, John?
25th of October, is that correct?
Sounds good to me.
Let me just check to make sure. Check to make sure. Sure. Sorry, no, the Monday was the 20th of October.
Monday 20th. Okay.
The 20th of October, yeah.
And we're now on Thursday?
It is currently the 23rd of October. It is now Thursday the 23rd.
Thursday the 23rd. And that is what I've got written in. Woo-hoo!
Right. I'm right in that.
Yeah. And
But that's not important, trust me.
No, okay. But the boy was killed. So Thaddeus O'Leary was killed on a Monday?
He was killed on Monday the 20th, 1927.
No, June the 13th, 1927. Monday, June the 13th, 1927.
June?
Yes.
I thought it was on the anniversary of when Sherry Meadows saw him.
No, it was not.
Okay, so the whole bit in the newspaper fishing thing where we looked at the date that she'd seen the boy, and that was the date we picked from, that isn't the anniversary.
I am not sure what has happened here. I'm entirely unsure as to how these wires have been crossed. But I can tell you that the crime was committed on Monday, June the 13th, 1927.
Yeah. And then Mrs. Claiborne, another significant date, Mrs. Claiborne was executed on the 11th of February, 1928.
That is correct.
Was that also a Monday?
It was not.
Not a Monday. Okay. Sorry for the interruption. I was just trying to get that clear.
That's okay. And that's useful actually, because by you asking the questions, we've been able to clarify something that was quite important.
Yeah. So it's not an annual anniversary. There may be something about Mondays, because I know there was a whole thing about the janitors who work the Monday seem to have a high turnover.
Yes.
So there may be something
two
there.
members of the janitorial staff who look after those two buildings, or primarily look after those two buildings. And one of them, who your colleagues have met, works 4 days a week. They're long days. And then there's another person who works 3 days a week, which is over the weekend, which is Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Okay.
Okay.
But this guy who normally works the week was working the Monday instead.
He was working the Monday and he hadn't worked the Monday before. Yes.
Yeah.
Or he hasn't traditionally worked the Monday very often. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
It's all right. No problem. So, Grace, you drive your car round into the parking lot and come to a halt. And as you kind of come to a halt and stop, you put the car in park, and it's bop, 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 and you yank the parking brake on and switch the car off, and you sit there with your hands still gripping the steering wheel from the fright that you had on the bridge. And Tomo walks past, and he knocks on the window, and he says, "Gracie, what happened?" And he points to the side of your car. And you open the door. And you walk round. It's the right-hand side of the car. So you go out and you walk around and you look at the side of the car, and where you scraped along, you've got a big kind of scratch along the bottom panel. And there's loads of muck and grass that's sort of spat up the side. Hey, don't worry, just drop me the keys when you have a minute, and I'll get it sorted for you. I know someone who can help. Good to see you, Gracie. Take care of yourself. And he walks off.
Yeah, Tomo.
You're stood there, and the back door opens, and Richie falls out of the car. And he picks himself up. Sarah, are you reacting to the way that he's...
You all right?
No, just not right now. And he turns and he just sort of, almost like a dead run, he just sort of scuttles over to one of these green areas, and he throws up.
Oh.
And then he just waves his hand, shakes his head, and just disappears off towards one of the buildings.
Wait, one of those green areas? What, on the campus? I thought you were down by the river.
Yeah. No, they drove back onto campus.
Oh, I see what you mean. I'm sorry. My apologies.
And they've come to park.
Gotcha.
Here.
Yeah.
Okay. You all just pick yourselves up and you're trying to work out what to do. You think that maybe the blueprint you could probably do with some additional help on that. Is there anybody else who could help? Is there anybody you know who could help you?
Help who?
Quiet for the main team.
Maybe Andy could help? What do you think?
Huh? What do you bet? Seeing how... Yes.
So, where are you going to... you need to just find somewhere to sit down for a short time and look at this drawing properly, you think? And then you can decide what you're going to do next.
Well, if we're going to be looking at the drawing, library?
Either go to the student centre or the library, maybe.
Okay.
Student centre. Good coffee over there. Shall we?
Okay. The library's closer is all I was thinking, but okay.
We'll walk over to the student centre. I send Andy a text message going, dude. Actually, Fish wouldn't say dude. He would go, Andy, smiley emoji, and then eggplant. We're going over to the student thingy for coffee. We've got blueprint on this thing that we're working on. If you're not busy with, and I type the name correctly, Evelyn. Why don't you pop on over and come and say hello? It's been ages since we've seen you. kind of forgetting what you look, and then I press send.
Okay. You see the dots, dot, dot, dot. Then there's a bit of a gap. Then the dots appear again. Then they disappear. And then you get a text that just says OMW.
Nice.
Just
I
take a
think-
quick pause there
just send-
again. And
Okay.
back in a moment. You have a map, which, or I should say, blueprint, which shows you the details of the building.
Yeah.
You have some other potential things that you could look into as well. You could tap up some other contacts. But in the first instance, you have sat yourself down in the student centre, in the Edgar Garland Student Centre.
Yep.
If you can see that on the map. And you've grabbed a coffee, and Andy has joined you.
Yeah.
And he's surprised to see that Sarah is sat around the table with you. When he turns up, he eyes her with some suspicion. He also notices that she's always got her phone in her hands. And for once,
It's compulsive.
she doesn't. It's sat on the table in front of her.
Mm.
Okay. Is there on the blueprints? You obviously see the external walls of Valden House.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that looks like it's sizable, but it's an empty space on the inside?
Okay. So when you pull these up, this is this has obviously been taken from quite a large sheet, and it's been scanned, and it's big. It's a lot of surface to cover, and you have to sort of maneuver around it. And so you all crowd round, and it's really difficult on your laptop screen because that's what you're all looking at it on. You tried it on the phones, it just doesn't work really. You can't get the scale of the thing, and it's quite difficult to look at. So you're finding it quite tough. And each of you are sort of picking out different things, and you're moving around the image. Can we get some notice rolls?
Mm-hmm.
I'll give it a go.
Did mine make a noise?
I'm just not getting anything
There
from
it
you.
is.
Oh, there we go. It caught up in
There
the
it
end.
is.
Okay. So it's Andy that is looking at these things. I mean, the problem is that it's actually they're actually not the easiest things. It seems like these would be really easy things to understand, but the first thing you kind of have to understand is what are walls, what are pipework, what are ductings, because this is a classic blueprint. It's old, it's fusty in places, it's got a few bits of damage to it. But the first thing that you notice, that Andy notices, Andy, you say, hang on a minute, there's something odd about that, about the notation block. So all blueprints have, usually in the bottom right-hand corner, sometimes the bottom left, whatever, but usually in the bottom right-hand corner, there is a section of that blueprint that has the details of who drew the drawing, when it was drawn, what it was for, and project details and so forth, all penned out.
Scale and what the symbols are.
You've been looking around this, and Andy, you say, hang on, can we go back and have a look at that? You just zoom in and have a look. And so you bring that up, you kind of shift it, and then you're all reading through it. And you notice that the blueprint has actually got a line that's been drawn out, and then has been replaced. It looks like this blueprint was actually not originally for this site. In actual fact, you get the distinct impression that it was for a male college. Given some of the notes, they've been drawn through. There's been a line put through them, so they're not. And it's quite the text is quite small, and the scan is not really high resolution enough for you to fully see the details. But from what you can tell, this looks like it was originally the original blueprint plan was drawn for somewhere else. So it's Grace that says, "Hang on, look at this. There's a basement. There's a basement section over here." And you sort of draw out and you see that it's 2 floors, and then there's a third kind of section. And initially you couldn't really understand what that was, but then you realise that's a basement. And you realise that the basement is not as large. It's not the whole sub part of the building. But there's another little bit which isn't very clear, actually. It's kind of quite faded on this section of the drawing. But it's Grace that spots it and says, "Well, what's that bit there?" And you push in, and it's quite damaged, but you think it says wine cellar. And you're trying to work out how these things stitch together. And on the first floor, this is an American drawing, so the first floor is what Europeans would call the ground.
Mm-hmm.
On the first floor, there's a section on the right-hand side of the building. So if you're looking at the building from the front and the main doors, on the right-hand side of the building, there's a section, and you all start focusing on that and looking at the details of that. And you see that it's labelled as Butler's Pantry, which seems a little strange. And you realise that it has some concealed steps at the back that lead down into this separate section that wasn't clear from the original drawing, and that seems to be where there was a separate basement. The big question is, how would that map onto what you saw and where the buildings were?
So where the steps, these concealed steps, how does that relate to Mrs. Claiborne's office?
Well, that's what's difficult about it.
Can we identify what room she was in?
So this is the problem. The problem appears to be that the drawing doesn't have the labelling that you would expect. For example, you would expect it.
Yeah.
Yes. It looks like it was an architect's drawing from somewhere else, and they did not relabel these things. But there is this section in the bottom right-hand corner of the building. Top right-hand corner of the first floor of the building. So basically at the back on the right, there is this section which is drawn as Butler's Pantry, and there's 2 rooms, and as part of that, you've got a concealed door down into the wine cellar. And then in the bottom right-hand corner is the kitchens and storerooms.
Okay, so it's possibly not relevant that where Mrs. Claiborne's office is related to that, because if we assume that that's where she took the body, she would have got it there somehow, and it whether it was in her office or not, probably not relevant. But the question is where the cellar is now. So is there anything we can use to are there any trees or anything marked on the drawing or maybe in the photograph? Some old trees that might still be there that we can use to kind of orient the building to the current layout.
Or, as we got the blueprint, it will be clearly scaled. So, how long is building? How wide is building? And as a guesstimate, without actually marching over to buildings 19 and 25 with a frigging huge tape measure, what do we think the rough size would be over what we know of 19 and 25?
If you were to compare this building roughly to the size of buildings 19 and 25, you think that it would be, if one takes 19, if one takes 25, we'll take building 25. We'll take the William Greystone building. Okay, so we're going to teach this. Look at this building just here. This Valden House would have been slightly wider. But sorry, slightly longer. So its long side would have been slightly longer than. I'm going to just put a measure on here. Okay, so it would have been slightly longer this way.
Yep.
Okay, but it wouldn't have been quite as long. Can you see that? Yeah.
Okay.
It wouldn't have been quite
a bit narrower.
Yeah. So it was a longer, narrower building.
But which way was it oriented? Is it oriented?
That's the question. So what you do
is the long side north, south, or east, west? Do we know?
So that's what you do. So what you do is you try to puzzle that out. In actual fact, the drawing that you've got does not have orientation on it. It looks like it did have a compass rose, but the compass rose was scratched out like some of the other details. And you think that that's because it was the original compass rose and these drawings were reused for this particular building on this campus.
You know the photographs that we've got from the paper?
So that was how they were treated. Sorry, excuse me. Sorry, Pete, let me finish your question and then Rob, I'll get to you just for a second. So what you do is you have a look at the photo. And knowing that it must have been taken in April or May, I believe that it was taken in April. Okay, Rob, sorry, you're going to say something.
Yes, I was going to take credit for something that Christine said on the notes, which is, can we have a look at the photo again? Because myself and Grace, Fish and Grace, have been poring all over that photograph. We know that photograph inside and out, okay? But the one that was from the, we're going to compare the one where the occupants are photographed with that we got from Dr. Salinero. Plus, I'm going to pull out the printed photograph newspaper of Valden House. Okay, are there any shadows?
So there are. When you look at the pictures of the people and the building, there are shadows. It's taken with sunlight, and there are shadows, and the shadows are all to the left of them.
Okay,
which implies
I pointed out, and then some
given the length of the shadows, roughly, you think that that's probably the right-hand side of the photo was the south side. So you think the building ran, so the front of the building, you think, faced to the west.
Okay.
Roughly west.
Okay.
So we think the length of the building was north-south and that the front was facing west.
Can I ask a question? The road we currently have that runs what is in front of 25 and 19 on the current campus map, was that road in existence in 1927? Do we know? Have we seen any kind of plan from Dr. Salinaro of the Women's College? I know she supplies the blueprint.
A site plan.
You haven't seen an overall plan, but you do have. When you look at the photo, you see that there is an established path to the left of the building. So there is a walkway that runs along the front of the building, and then you can see from the photograph that there to the left of the building there is a sort of just there's a bit of grass, and then there's a walkway.
That would be this.
That would be a good guess.
Okay. And how far away is that guess of a pathway there to the wall of the house?
It's, I guess, it's probably about 10 feet. So it's just a small piece of grass, and then there's this
relatively
path.
close. So relatively close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
and- right.
Sorry, Rob.
So that's a big old house then, really, because looking at, and I know that the maps, they're not scale accurate, but I would imagine the distance from that pathway to the side of building 19 would be possibly 6 to 10 foot.
We're sort of looking somewhere like that, maybe.
It would be longer and wider, so it would be larger than that. Would you like me to scale it a little bit?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay. You think it would be more like probably something like that.
Yeah.
Like that.
And from the plans, the pantry,
Yep.
the butler's pantry was
Mm-hmm.
to the rear and the right-hand side of the building.
Yeah.
Over there.
So that would be directly above
in that corner.
where.
Right.
Okay.
Southeast corner.
That would make sense then, because that's where the apparition appeared.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's where the death was, and then maybe there was. I've written down dumbwaiter, but I don't know whether that was a thing.
Ooh.
I don't know whether that was a thing in the 1920s. It might have been.
Sorry, Rob, I missed that. Say again?
I've written down in question marks dumbwaiter, but I don't know if that would be age appropriate for that period of time. Honestly,
it would be. It would be, but there is no dumbwaiter drawn. There's no dumbwaiter system drawn on here. There is in fact a refectory in the building.
Right.
So there's no dumbwaiter.
What's the date on the blueprint?
The date on the blueprint is 1895.
So my thought is, and it's a wild one, but just because something was built to possibly that blueprint that wasn't specifically designed for this house, okay, but maybe they used it. A lot can change between 1895 and 1920 or even 1910. So does anyone know? I'm going to Google it. When was the dumbwaiters in fashion in houses?
Dumbwaiters probably started in the late Victorian era. I don't know exactly.
Me either.
But I would think that the dumbwaiter first came into service in the late Victorian, probably about the 1880s, 1890s, something like that.
But we know that there was a concealed stairway
in the 1840s.
Yeah. Does it matter how she transported the body at the end of the day? What we're concerned with is where the body ended up.
He's a small child.
Yeah, she could have carried him
easily.
And take him to the concealed stair, down into the wine cellar. If no one else knew it was there, then they wouldn't
Chopped
have found
him up and served him as rabbit pie.
Well, could be something. We don't know what's in there. Could be a ritual room. She might have been doing demonic summoning rituals down there. Who knows?
So I look at Andy when he says that, and I kind of glance at Sarah, and then I look at Andy again, and I go, if she was into that type of shit, do we really want to communicate with her? I mean, is this going to be safe for anyone?
Well, I think normally with these things, the rituals, you have a protective circle where you basically contain the spirit so that someone's listening to our video. I can hear it in the background. I think it's Christine. I think Christine's playing the video. We can hear Rob's voice in the background.
Which usually happens.
So I mean,
But I think first
Fish's
thing
face just goes pale at Andy's suggestion of like a protective barrier, and and Fish just goes, "I've seen one of those. That crab man got away and slashed me. I nearly died. That was worse than the gunshot, Andy. That was worse than the gunshot. I don't trust protective circles." Margaret Winters dropped it on us.
Oh, okay.
Dropped it on me.
What happened with Margaret?
She slipped over on a banana skin.
You guys.
It could have been spaghetti. I don't know. It was yellow. I'm not really a pasta connoisseur. It looked like a banana skin. That's all I could tell you, Sarah.
Do you want to catch up with Margaret?
I think we're leaning. I'm not speaking for everyone. I'm thinking maybe Andy should do the ritual and communicate with the woman in black. I think we might be able to get faster answers that way.
I've heard that Sonia Alvarez is really mean to people she doesn't know.
Well,
you could probably go, or you know her, or
and Andy is her teacher's pet friend.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Andy has a way in with her.
I heard a rumor that Sonia Alvarez doesn't like people that take the piss out of people. So I don't mean to be rude, Sarah, but maybe you and I should stay outside.
Huh. Actually,
because she definitely
that's probably
won't
a good
like me.
She won't know. She won't know me at all. I mean, I know Sarah, but that Margaret. I mean, that's it. Fine.
I thought you were famous on that TikTok.
The old folks like these teachers don't watch that stuff. And by the way, John, I had intended for Sonia Alvarez to be camped out in the AG Archive number 6 Red, which is the funny weird dome building that I popped in. Yes, sir. So the intention was a basement of the archive is where she studies Arcana with some of her select students.
Cool. All right.
So
I have absolutely no idea who this person is.
So what do you guys think? So what do you guys think? Go and see Sonia Alvarez and see if she's about, or carry on and see if we can uncover more?
I'd like to check out that basement. I think we've got a good location there. We know it looks like it's sort of next to the office. Next to the janitor's office. So we can maybe get in there and have a look. Yeah. But the question is, when do we go? Do we go when there's a janitor there, or after? Do we go after they locked up? I think
we've got a reasonably good reputation with Femi now, so I think Femi will let us do a little bit of study and research.
A bit nosing around, yeah.
I don't think he'll have a problem with that. As long as we're honest with him and above board, and don't try and mess him around.
Yep.
There's so it took us quite a while to get the microfishes sorted and found the story, and then we got the drive back, and we've literally come back. So, I mean, I look at my portable sundial. Sorry, I look at my wristwatch, and it says 8 p.m. Is it 9 p.m.? What time are we looking at?
No, so it's about 5 p.m.
About 5 p.m. Okay, well, the place will still be open. So yeah, Femi locks up at 10 o'clock, and he's out there quick. So yeah, if you want to do that now, let's go. And I shut the laptop down, stick it in my man bag, my man satchel. And then
the William Greystone building, what actually is it in terms of its function?
The Greystone?
Yeah.
It is the cultural and social studies
of Tarzan and how he survived. Sorry, wrong Greystone. And that was Greystoke, wasn't it? Never mind.
Yeah.
That's a faux pas live. I'll edit that out, don't worry. Okay, so let's take the leftover coffees and let's dance. Sarah, are you going to be all right without Richie? I mean, you're not feeling uncomfortable being with Richie's friends, are you?
I can get along with you guys.
Well, I didn't want you to go that far, but
I mean, I didn't know you guys were sneaking around in buildings after hours and doing crazy. This is sort of cool.
No, we don't do anything cool. We're complete and utter educational fitness and whatever Andy does, freaks. We are complete geeks in our own separate fields. We don't go round breaking into places. We don't, no, we don't do things like that. Not at all. We're British.
We weren't after hours. We went to the building.
During the day.
Well, we went to the building when it was open.
Yeah.
Just before it closed, so we weren't sneaking around after hours.
That was a joke. We are quite boring,
right.
Really.
So are you heading back to building 20, heading over to building 25 then, yeah?
Yep.
All right.
Or we could go to 19 and then use the basement through, but I think it would be better to use 25 just in case Femi's up there, and then we'll ask him if we can go back down into the basement. I think
Femi's
we need to go down into the basement.
Femi's probably doing stuff at 5 o'clock during the day. I would guess he's probably out and about doing things. Probably not just hanging out in his office.
We'll soon find out.
Yeah.
You might just
You can be in there and you can be backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. All right, so you head back into building 25 and you head around to the access stairs down into the janitor's room. You get to the door that's marked staff only, with the metal vent at the top, and you knock on it and there's no answer. So you opening it or heading back, or what are you doing?
No, I'll open it. Stick my head in.
Cool down.
Femi?
It's locked.
Not for much longer.
The door is locked.
Okay, so
let's try going round to the R.E. Lee building. See if he's round in that building. It might be that he's not.
He could just be somewhere else in this building. I mean, we can't see the whole building. I would guess it just means that he's away from his office and locks the door when he leaves.
Quite reasonably.
Like a good janitor should do.
So how about we split up, have a quick search. Whoever finds him rings the rest. So he sends a text to the rest. Yeah. Let's just do that.
That's a bad idea in a spooky story.
Yeah. Well, it is if the building was abandoned and, in the woods at night.
Is there
Friday the 13th,
in building 25 at the moment apart from us?
It's end of the day. There's a whole load of students wandering around. I mean, this is a busy place right now.
There's students, there's faculty. It's a busy place.
So we're not alone. Even if we split up, we're not alone.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's just go find the guy. Just let's go find the guy.
Go find the guy.
Let's not discuss it more.
You run around the building, just looking around. You basically caught a building between you.
Femi!
You get some funny looks. You whiz around the building, and then you meet back. It doesn't take very long. It takes you less than 10 minutes to whiz around the building, and you meet back, and you're convinced that he can't find it. in this building.
Right.
Doesn't seem to be here.
Let's go check out 19.
Okay. So you head over to building 19.
Yep, check it out.
Are you going to go to the stairs, as in the corresponding
Yeah,
door?
Check them out, just to see. Yep.
Yep, that one is open.
Ah.
There's no answer when you knock on the door and then you yell, hello? There's no answer from down below. But the lights are off down there.
Oh, okay. Lights are off.
The door opens, but the lights are off.
Okay.
Fish, I think you should go first.
I think you're right. I'm invested in this. Let's go.
Right.
And I
switch
switch
the
the
lights
lights on. Yeah, switch the lights on. And go down the stairs.
All right. So you flick the switch on the lights, and you see the lights flicker on downstairs. It's rare, the lighting around the university now is pretty much all LCD, but this one these appear to be some of those old star fluorescent tubes, and you see it flicker and come on, and you see the lights, and then you see it stabilize downstairs, and there's a light above you comes on, so you can see the stairs.
Okay.
And then you hear distinctly in the distance, you hear a thump, and then there's a bang, and the lights go out.
Okay, that's concerning.
Guess whose phone turns on immediately?
Femi,
Yeah.
are you okay? Are you okay?
Torches.
Get a torch out.
What's going
Switch
on?
it on.
Okay, you'll put your phone torches on. Okay.
Yep.
And you bustle down the stairs. The nature of these places, clinical, boring, workman-like places. Suddenly, sorry, Christine.
I do hope we don't find Femi downstairs electrocuted because we've just reconnected
I was
the
just
lights
gonna
that
say,
he was working on the electrical circuit.
Changing a bulb.
Sorry.
We find him at the bottom of some step ladders.
Frazzled hair.
Like
Oh dear.
you don't. But the nature of this space, the workman-like nature of it, is transformed in this strange moving light from the LEDs on the backs of your phones. And you scan around the room. Unlike in Building 25, which is more of a personal space, this one is literally just stacks of spares. There isn't even a chair and a table here. This is just a storeroom. You hear a moan.
Hang on. Sorry.
It came from the right.
I'm
It came from
confused.
the left. Through the door.
Came from the right and the left. So it came from the left.
It came from the left.
It came from the left, okay.
Right.
Came
I might
from
be-
the left.
I
Left
might
and
be
through the
slightly
door.
wrong here, so Christine will need to correct me. But I thought we came through Building 19, went down the stairs
We did.
into the basement where all the HVAC was and what have you. Now,
Correct.
2
No,
weeks ago,
no.
when we saw
Right.
Mr. Femi,
Let me just
because
explain this again.
Wanted to get into I thought we wanted to get into the basement underneath Building 25.
We did, but it's connected.
It is connected, but we didn't get a description of any clinical desks and chairs. We had the whole thing as where the HVAC was.
What
No.
desks and chairs? Who said desks and chairs?
What?
John, just a second ago, which is why I said, sorry, I'm confused.
Yeah. Last
Right.
time round, the very first session we had, when we came down into the office area, we came down into Femi's office area. He had a table and 2 chairs. There was a caged area with chemicals in it. He had it set up as an office environment. There were crucifixes on the wall. There was a calendar. There's notepads and books around. And basically, this was his working area where he was having his lunch. He was sitting down eating a sandwich at one point. But that's where he basically spent his off time, downtime, if you like, between doing jobs.
Correct. So that's this. That's this
where we are now.
That I'm in here.
No, that is in the basement of building 25. We've come round. We couldn't get into building 25, so we've come round into building 29. 19 even.
Yeah.
We've come round into 19, and we've gone down in the basement in that.
And
that
so
building.
these are opposite. These are opposite sides. So you've got a room here, and a room here. These small rooms.
Right.
And then the plant room is in the middle.
Through the rear door. The last time we were there, we just looked at the main basement bit and then had a look into the other
kind of
bit
saw
where
we saw the door and the window, and we saw into it. Kind of.
Yeah.
We never went into it.
Yes, you saw through into there, but you never went out and upstairs.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Sorry. That's why I said I might be confused.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So So we've got So excellent. I'm with you now. I'm back on track. Sorry. Thank you.
Okay, so we've heard this moan, and it's come from the left. And did you say it was through the doors, John?
I think it was coming from behind the door, yeah.
Okay. I think we need to see if we can find out who it is. Is it Femi?
Mm.
So go to the doors.
And Andy's there like a shot. He's really curious.
And we're calling out. We're calling out to is it Femi. Femi, are you there? Femi, you okay?
Did we just electrocute you? We'll open the door.
Andy flings the door open and shoves his phone forward to see whatever it is in the light.
Great dark shapes loom in the gloom ahead of you. There's a smell, an electrical smell in the air. And for a moment, you think you see a dark shape pass in front of you. But maybe that's just your imagination. It's not entirely sure. And then you see on the floor this big dude with dark skin. He appears to have been working at or has open one of the main electrical breakers.
We did.
No, you didn't. It's one of the main electrical breakers. These are big breakers.
Yeah.
And you see when you shine your light on it, you register that the breakers, rather than being up, are down, and you know that means that something's blown.
Mm-hmm.
So you head over. All of you just rush over to him and check him out. And it looks like he's tripped over and banged the back of his head on the ground. He's quite fortunate not to have landed on some of the equipment that's around you. You all sort of force into the space.
Yeah.
But you see that he's banged his head.
All right, Doogie.
It's Doggy Hauer, apparently, according to the
Doggy
subtitles.
Hauer.
Doggy Hauer. What?
Doggy Hauer.
Doggy Hauer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we get some kind of medicine roll for that?
Yeah.
First aid.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you check him over, and you basically feel he moans a bit when you blow his head. You realise he's got a concussion. And your immediate feeling is that he's literally just fallen. I mean, physically speaking, it looks like he's just fallen and literally banged his head as he's come down. He's got this egg on the back of his head. He's got a small cut in it, but the bleeding is not profuse. There's only the slightest little bit of blood coming out. It's just the lightest of surface grazes, but it's a pretty big old egg, and he's knocked himself out, and he stirs and he comes round, and you roll him on his side just to make sure that he's all right. And as he comes around, you ministrate to him.
Recovery position.
Okay. I'm actually more
Fish, what do you
interested in the breaker. I'll be honest with you. So when
Okay,
Femi comes round, what's the breaker for? I'm going to have a look at the index on the side of the panel.
It's one of the primary breakers for the building. It's the primary breaker for building 19.
Oh, so power was probably out in the whole
case,
building. Then.
You think the best thing you can guess is that as he's fallen, he's gone to grab it. He's grabbed the breaker and basically just caught the breaker as he's gone down.
So was he standing on some steps, or was he just standing?
Nope.
On
He's
steps
just
there.
Yeah, but you don't know what's caused him to fall over.
No. Well, I think we should probably call the EMTs anyway to see to him.
Well, these two are basically fussing over the breaker. I'll be fussing over Femi.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's coming round, you say?
Yeah, he is coming round. Yeah.
But
No, don't try and get up too quickly there, Femi. You've got a huge bump on the back of your head. Are you okay? What happened?
He says something in a language that you don't recognise.
I'm guessing that's Nigerian.
Does the campus have its own medical staff, or is it all? Yeah.
They should. There's a clinic. It's not 24 hours. That's the hospital downtown.
Okay. So in this sort of case of an accident, would you normally call the hospital or call the clinic?
Yeah.
Okay. So
let's call the clinic.
He'll call the clinic and get someone over to have a look at him.
Whilst I'm still having a look at the breaker.
So your phones aren't getting any signal down here.
Okay, Andy will head up. Andy will head up and call the clinic.
All right. See, when you go back up the stairs, the whole place is dark, and there's a lot of people bustling around in the place. So, Fish, what are you doing with the breaker?
Well, I'm just making sure that from what I can see with my mobile phone, that the wires aren't loose and what have you going to the breaker. And as long as that is A-OK, I'm going to electrocute myself and I'm going to switch the fucking breaker back on.
Okay. You push the breaker up and there's a clunk. And various lights come back on, and the lights in here flicker back into life. So the lights are now on in here.
Okay. I look at my phone. Have I got any cell reception now the lights are back on?
No, you have not.
That curious hindrance is really... It's like, I wonder if... I know it shouldn't, but you never know. Spookier things have happened.
That's funny.
Okay. So whilst Femi's out cold and we're waiting,
he's not out cold. He's coming around, but he's
talking in Nigerian to me.
He's
not out cold.
You've called, and they're sending some people over.
Gotcha.
So, Andy, you're all right to wait up the stairs.
Yeah, Andy's going to wait. Andy's going to wait at the top of the stairs for them to arrive.
All right. Is anybody going to do anything while the moment is available? While the time's available?
Me.
Andy, the lights are back on. Fish.
I guess he threw the switch.
Okay. After I've thrown the switch and what have you, Femi's clearly talking something, knowing that he's Nigerian. And Grace has just said, I think he's talking Nigerian. I'm going to go on to a really crappy translate on my phone. I'm hoping the Wi-Fi is getting through.
Wi-Fi's not back on yet.
Right, damn it. In that case, no, I'm not going to do that.
It's going to take a few minutes for the Wi-Fi to come back on. But what you do realise is that there isn't any such language as Nigerian. Nigeria has 520 different spoken languages. So,
Okay. So, which one of the dialects is this?
Possibly.
Yoruba.
Okay. I'm going to record what he's saying. believe Texas
Oh,
is a single party agreement for recording, isn't it? Texas. So you
I
don't
do
need
not-
permission
Okay,
from both
so
parties.
He said something in a language that you didn't recognise, and then he says, head hurts. Ooh.
Yeah. Your head thinks it's a chicken and it's laid an egg. I wouldn't
Don't.
move too much. You've got
And
a
if he's
big
trying to
egg
get
on the
up-
back there.
Grace is stopping him. No, don't try and get up. Stay
Yeah.
down.
Stay where you are. We shouldn't have actually moved you on this side just in case, but
You called for some medical help.
Yeah, we're gonna get
Giving
you
yourself
sorted
a
soon.
nasty bang on the head.
Okay.
What the hell did you do?
So,
Femi?
couple of. Sorry?
What the hell did you do? We came down to find you to ask you a couple of other questions for our little investigation that we're doing, and we couldn't get in through the other building, so we tried this one, and then as we were coming down the stairs, we just heard this thump, and then and I thought maybe you got your hand stuck in a whirly thing.
Don't know what it was. I had to switch out the circuit for the lab upstairs so I could replace some of the bulbs, and I came down to do it, and then as I had the board open, something, and it was just so fast and strange, it came up at me like out of nowhere.
What?
Screaming, laughing, cackling, something, and then I just jumped out the way, and as I did, I must have caught the board and fallen. I just remember black and then more black.
The lights
My wife
going
is
out
gonna
will do
kill
that to
me.
you, man.
For being so stupid.
I don't
Okay.
see as stupid, man.
Some
I see
paramedics
as
arrive.
cautious, man.
They check him over, and then they basically get underneath him, pick him up. And somebody's come down. One of the admin staff has come down. So Andy's come back down as well. Show everybody what's going on. One of the admin staff has come down as well. Students, why are you here?
So I came down to speak to Femi again with reference to, and I reeled off the professor's name that I'm in the mechanical engineering with reference to some electrical questions for machines and things like that.
I don't think you should be bothering the caretaker here, should you?
Well,
and also,
why not?
should that be open?
It was like that. But no,
just a
you're
quick
right,
question,
I don't think
but
you should be.
shouldn't you be looking at the man on the floor, making sure he's all right before you start questioning us as to why?
Well, the paramedics are sorting him out, aren't they?
Oh, are they? Mm.
Yeah, yeah. And there's two paramedics and there's an admin person. So the admin person's coming down.
Okay. All right.
Look,
Well, we opened the
It's a
door,
good job
and
that
then
we actually came down to speak to this caretaker. Really,
we heard a crash and a cry and a thump, and that's why we came down. The lights went out. The lights went out.
Oh, I see.
We didn't come down. That was why we came down.
Oh, marvelous. I'm so sorry. I just thought you were. Well, he sort of.
No,
we think he said he was working on the board, and then something came at him, and he fell off the ladder and caught the board and turned everything off. I think.
It came at him. There was somebody else down here.
I don't know.
Well, we don't know,
He seems to
'cause-
say something.
He looks at Sarah.
That's just what he said.
It wasn't a prank, was it?
No, Sarah was with us upstairs.
No, not a prank.
No. Well, all right.
No,
look,
ma'am.
let's all get out.
I can
here now.
And
assure
it's
you.
Jameson, but it was not her.
Pushes the disc board closed and clicks it, and you see that it needs a key. Turn the lock and then open it, and then you take the key out, and then just it clicks closed again. And he looks around. Let's go back upstairs. The two paramedics get underneath this guy. The two paramedics are not small, but they struggle to get this guy back up the stairs. But they get him up and lay him on a gurney that's at the top of the stairs, because of course they can't get that down the stairs. They manage to carry him up, because he's a big guy, and they lay him on the bed, on the gurney, and then they wheel him off. Okay.
Wow.
The admin guy closes the door and takes the key out and locks it. I'll have to speak to somebody on the maintenance staff and get them over here just to make sure that everything gets sorted. But thanks for helping me. It's a good job that you heard. Must have been quite difficult from that distance. And he stands and he looks at the stairs.
It was quite loud.
And then he shrugs his shoulders and he walks off.
Makes quite a noise when he lands. He's a big guy. Okay.
Oh, they were going to try and pin that on us.
They would have tried.
Has he gone?
Yes.
Grace, could you kick this fucking door in?
No.
Okay. Has anybody else got any way of picking that lock?
Well, before we even consider that, we might want to consider all the people who are walking past.
Still a lot of people.
Still a fair number of people in here. It's dying off though. You're getting into some of the kind of a few evening classes and things like that. But
I
in the building now.
have had some experience with here. If I've got a bobby pin or something, I might be able to
Go for it. I'll
give you a
cover
poker
Oh,
you.
yet.
Well, hang on. What if we're going to do that? Why don't we go back round to building 25 to the to the Greystone? Because we know that the office is directly next to, so we're closer. We don't have to then go all the way through the HVAC system. We can actually just come straight down into Femi's office, and
I'd really rather not climb through an HVAC system. That makes a lot of sense.
exactly. So if we go back to the
Perfectly safe.
if we are going
Yeah.
to attempt to open the door surreptitiously, why don't we do it on that door instead? Where they
We're
haven't
here
had the
right now.
excitement of everything going off.
Let's do that.
Oh,
Let's
Yeah.
execute.
okay. Okay.
You just
All
want
right.
to go nosing at the HVAC again.
No, I'm invested into trying to get this woman in black. She's there. You know, you just know that she's in the basement, don't you? I say as we go around to building 25. You've seen this on those freaky American horror film things where, you know, all the teens, and it always ends in the basement or something, and they come face to face with the thing, and it was actually Professor Green in the basement with a loaded revolver.
All right,
You know.
so you go around a building 25, and the way the building, although the buildings are laid out very similarly, they're not actually identical, and so you find yourself here in a much quieter environment. It was a good call to come around this way because this building is a lot quieter, and so what's that for? Are you
I'll tell you
repairing
in a
some
second.
doors somewhere?
No, I'll tell you in a second. Okay, so
All right.
I'll tell you now. Okay, so we already know that Sarah's going to try and pick the lock. The last time
do.
we tried to pick a lock, I used my repair skill to as assistance roll. Okay. So because technically, if I succeeded the assistance roll, she would get a +1, won't she? So that's why I rolled it, waiting for you to finish what you were going to say, and then I can say I've rolled my assistance roll, which is repair, because it's a mechanical repair. So therefore, I would know how the tumblers work, etc., etc. I just have no idea how to actually pick it. Okay, so that's the premise behind it.
All right.
And obviously, it's down to you whether you give the plus or not.
Sarah, would you like to roll the dice?
So I'll kind of stand in a way that I'm covering Sarah from one side of the corridor. So anybody would look in. All that they'll see is Sarah's head roughly at my groin height. Okay. Or, and that's literally it.
So you want me to do this?
And I whisper to Grace, Grace, can you take a picture from behind me?
Yeah, thievery roll, wouldn't it?
Yep. Ooh.
I always suspected that.
I'll spend a Benny, as you would.
Spend that Benny.
Yeah.
There you go.
There we go.
Oh, nice one.
So you didn't need my my assistance at all with that, Benny.
You take something out of your hair, which most people assume is just a hair grip, but anybody who's paying any attention notices that there's a rather interesting piece of bent metal on it, and you bend it over and you stick it in, and you just slowly but surely tease the lock open, and then you turn it, and there is a click. Because it's one of these, it's a turn lock, so it's not unlock, and then when you close it, it locks. It's unlocked, locked. So now it's unlocked. Okay.
And when she looks up, all that she sees is Fish with one hand behind his head like this, and the other hand behind his back as if and pulling on his shirt.
That's
again,
gross, dude.
If you are watching this, I do apologise.
We always do.
Grace, did you get that picture? Grace, did you take that picture?
Misspent youth. I say unironically because a person at this age actually thinks that they're saying that and meaning it.
So you open the door, the lights are on.
Okay, let's go in.
The stairs.
We're going in.
I step aside to let my
This is where we find out that actually the door wasn't locked in the first place, and the called for caretaker was actually downstairs.
exactly.
Andy's going in.
Give me a second, really. I just need to check something. Excuse me a second. Sorry. Just need to open this up. Here we go.
I do apologise.
All right. I think that's weird. I don't seem to be able to see. Have I missed it? Where is it? It must be here somewhere. Oh, my apologies. I was looking in completely the wrong place. Alrighty. Okay, so you've not been down here before, but you realise that it's a mirror image of the other side. So you turn, you start going down the stairs. And for a split second, you're sure that the lights dim around you. And then suddenly, next to your ear, and literally just in your peripheral vision, you see this visage of horror, and this scream in your ear, cackling scream appears in your ear. Everyone who's following along behind him, suddenly sees this woman in black manifest next to him and scream, and you go, "Ah!" Throw yourself out the way just of this sudden shock. And what you need to do is you need to make an athletics roll for me.
I don't notice anything.
I thought it was me.
No,
It is.
Andy went first, yeah.
And
Oh,
after you've
so I
noticed
went through the
anything-
door first, and Andy then
No.
said that he's going through the door, going down the stairs. But Andy gets the okay. No, that's fine.
No, I think John asked who was going first, and I said me.
Yeah.
I said that I was opening the door and going down before
Oh,
Andy
sorry.
said me. So,
I missed that.
but that's fine.
It
That's
was
fine.
like
That's a
the
GM
classic
thing. You'll get it.
Andy's
You might-
Andy's
Oh, it's not a problem.
extremely
If you're in the
keen,
lead, you can make
and
the
he
athletics roll.
pushed
Whoever's in the
past
lead,
you.
I made the
whoever's in
athletics
lead
check. You
needs
didn't.
to make an athletics check.
Yeah, no,
I made it,
made
you
a
didn't.
notice roll
I'm in
to
the
see if
lead.
I noticed anything.
Oh, I
No,
see.
you're in the lead, so why don't you make one as well? Why don't you both make one? How about that? That sounds good.
Well, I
doesn't
already
it?
have. I made
Andy's
mine.
already
Yeah,
made
you've
one.
made it, so you're all right. Fish, do you want to make an athletics roll?
And I definitely said I
Yeah,
stepped aside
no
to let
worries.
them go first.
Okay. All right. The two of you were like,
Well done.
you grab hold of the things, and this thing just, and then as quickly, and you see this horrifying face cackling at you, and then it sort of fades again and fades away, and you hear the cackle just sort of fading off into the distance.
That's right.
Wait,
Run away,
wait.
witch.
Don't go. Don't go.
Go on.
We want to talk to you.
I'm right next to you, dude. I'm not running anywhere.
Not talking to you.
Right.
Who are you talking to?
This was freaky. Okay, the two of you, it is unsettling. When this is the second time it's happened to you, so it's very unsettling.
Yeah, but you've got to bear in mind that Andy grew up in a house full of spirits.
What?
So he's
Holy
kind of used to
crap.
it.
That was so loud. that's now see that's funny, Rob.
I love the dish.
Very good.
Blimey.
I'm gonna have to beg for a quick restroom break and then
Yeah, I think we need a quick break. Creep down. Fish and Andy, you creep down into the basement.
What was that?
Fish, the area at the bottom of the stairs is much as you remember it before. With the table and the chairs, the personal items, Femi's personal items, and the cage with the chemicals. Reluctantly, Sarah comes down behind you, with Grace sort of almost like just pushing her along, I'm assuming. So, Fish,
Yes.
you were keen to get down here. Andy, so were you.
Yes.
What are you going to do then?
We're going to start looking at the walls.
Going to start
Yes.
looking at the walls.
So
I'm
we're
going to-
basically
Doors.
we're looking for hollow areas that have been recently excavated.
You're making
Yeah,
tapping
it's not like
noises
that
on
at all.
walls.
The floor is a poured concrete slab, which has been painted, and the walls are made from block.
Oh, okay.
And you can see the steel structure that comprises the floor structure of the building, and the block is sort of between the steel uprights that are holding up the main block of the building. I mean, there could be concealed areas here, but it certainly doesn't look like it as you sort of just walk around this room. This is a fairly small space.
Have we got any
Okay.
of Glenn Mack's toys with us?
At this point, no, you returned
What?
them.
Yes, we returned them.
Max toys.
On the blueprint, we were looking at the butler's pantry.
The
And
stairs, are they
wine
from the
cellar.
outside of the building or are they from the inside? The stairs down into the butler's pantry. So in other words, was it something that you accessed from the outside of the building and therefore possibly if it's still here, we would access it from the outside of the building,
No.
not inside?
The stairs that led down from the butler's pantry down into the wine cellar as marked on the blueprints were entirely inside the building.
Okay.
So it's possible that what they did was when they built this building, they basically used the existing basement and just poured concrete. So if the body was buried in the floor of the basement, they might have just poured concrete over the top.
Well, then we're not digging for any bones or anything.
No, I'm not.
Not through concrete, no.
Not digging.
So
That will not
guess
go
we're
down
back
well.
to that ritual thing.
Oh.
I think we are.
If you were going to chop up the concrete here, you'd want to know what was underneath it before you did so.
I take it Andy or Fish has gone through the door into the HVAC system area and has checked that wall that kind of I don't know how to say it, but this wall along this bit of the wall.
I see what you're saying, and I'm pretty sure that's what Andy and Fish, that's what you were just talking about doing, wasn't it? So that's what you do. You do check to make sure that the wall is a wall and there's not gaps or whatever. You do all of that. You just whiz around it. But it is, you're pretty sure it's just, it's what it looks like. It's a block.
If there is something there, it's been boxed in with concrete.
Well, maybe not. It depends.
Okay. What does it depend on?
Well, it depends on what the GM says. If he hasn't actually said, some blocks are the hollow ones for putting rebar in, for concrete in, but sometimes it doesn't quite hit because you go half a brick over where the mortar line is on the underneath. So the two sides don't actually go over the holes. If it's a solid block, then it's just a brick wall. In which case, if there's anything behind it, by tapping on it, we might be able to tell whether it's dense or whether it's hollow behind.
I did say we were tapping on the walls.
Yeah.
The wall between the machine room, plant room, and this area is a narrow block wall. Okay? 100%. As far as you could tell, there's no gaps in it, there's no holes, there's no whatever. The other three walls of this room, before you go through into the machine room, again, appear to be just block walls. You assume that, given that it's the basement, I mean, you tap on it, you basically find a bit of metal and you clonk on the walls, but they're like bop, 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 bop. They're solid. You don't hear any echoes or anything like that. And it looks like, they would have built these walls in the hole when they dug the hole for the foundations or whatever, and probably it's tanked behind to stop any potential water ingress if there's water, and then they built everything else above it.
Right. So this on the map where I'm pinging, where the HVAC system is, that is the wine cellar bit?
No.
So where's the wine cellar in the new basement? Where would the wine cellar be in the new basement?
it would have been under roughly where that little red square is that she was...
It's hard for you to be precise, because preciseness is not that easy, but I'm going to draw a blob, a green blob, okay? Just give me a second. I'm just going to draw a green blob at a random location. Please ignore the random location. I just need to check something. Yes, that is correct. Good. Okay. But it would be somewhere in that area there.
So that's the wine cellar.
Yeah, the wine cellar walls, yeah.
where the wine cellar was.
And I know Grace or Christine and Pete have mentioned this a few times, but I just want to get it right in my head. The butler's pantry was a floor above the wine cellar. You had to go into the butler's pantry to go down into the wine cellar.
Correct. So the
that
butler's pantry was on the first floor, ground floor, and then you had to go down some stairs to get into the basement, which is where the wine cellar was. And why do you know that this was not a design from the from around 1910, 1920? Because it has a wine cellar on it. And in 1927, when this allegedly took place, we were in the middle of Prohibition.
So that
it would be a speakeasy.
Or would have been disused in a women's university with a bunch of prudes.
It would.
Wow, would have been the perfect place to stash a body.
Yeah. So, in England, unsolved murder cases are kept open indefinitely. If they never found the body, could we go to the police with this and see if they could bring in a ground penetrating radar to scan through this concrete?
What do we have to take the police?
Well, we have the blueprints. We have the original case, which says that the body was never found.
Who's
So
the
we can-
geologist?
Can everyone please make an academics roll?
Oh yeah, there might be a ground penetrating radar person. At the university. Fish will know.
Fish. Fish says.
Fish knows. Fish says.
I
think that over there's a
The
ground
archaeology
penetrating
department
radar.
have a ground penetrating radar.
Hey!
I was just going to
My
say,
mate
I'm
Freddie
sure.
Smith in the archaeology department. That's one.
I'm
In a
sure
little
there's
shed.
actually. I'm sure there's actually a roomie that did geology. I think, but I can't.
Help me out here, folks. Is there a roomie that did that does?
Well,
geology?
that's all in our heroes.
Journalist.
Heroes.
Working it.
So if you go to the heroes, and you will see there Andrew Armstrong. You'll see his roommate is Josh Haggis, history major. So if you go to Charles, you'll see that his roommate is Manny Ramirez, history major. Go to Grace, and you see that mine is Sarah Jenkins, and it's athletics pole vault. If you go to Richie, you see that his roommate is Billy Vincent. I don't know that we ever got. He's English. He's an English major.
Yep.
And Tomo's is a journalist major. So no.
Journalism. Yep. That's
Or
right.
history. But I mean, history, not archaeology.
You're an archaeologist.
Yeah.
This is so broken. I'm going to these
Mac might
sections
be
and
able
it just,
to get us,
it just goes,
access.
"Nah."
I still think before we go running off the police and try and make our case, we should at least try that seance-y thing that you were talking about, Andy. Maybe try and contact the kid. We know his name.
So, what do you want to do? Do you want to try a seance, or do you want to try a ground penetrating radar? Science or seance?
I think we should do the seance. That's Andy's vote.
Andy.
And
Cool.
Andy's definitely wants to do that.
Andy wants to hold hands in the dark and then knock on the table.
Boy, Andy's been a long time away from his girlfriend. This is going to be interesting. He's probably in trouble. Let's see here.
Andy
That's
has
why he's knocking on the table when other people are holding his hands. Yeah.
Andy has the curious hindrance, and it's
yes.
So he's definitely going to go with the more risky option.
Fish, you're looking inscrutable.
I'm excited. Sounds really cool.
Grace, what's your feeling?
I'll go with the majority.
Yeah.
It's full review.
I was trying to find a way of politely and accurately explaining exactly what's going through my brain. I think the seance is a good idea, and I think we should do that, but this is what's going through my brain. Okay? We can't go to the police even when we've done the seance, because who the fuck's going to believe us? We're going to have to get the ground penetrating LiDAR or radar to basically map the outside corner edge of building 25 to see if there's anything that can be found, and also coming into the basement to map that area as well. Once we've got that information, we've got something tangible to give to the police. So in my brain, I'm going, what is the seance going to provide us apart from why are you doing this and where is the boy buried? And then we can go and get the stuff. But if we're thinking that that green spot is where we need to be looking, I am completely torn. But both things are a good idea. And which order, I really don't care because I'm clueless at trying to do this. I know what I'm trying to do as Fish. I know what I'm trying to do. But which order it goes in, he really doesn't care. I'm just thinking, not only one is going to speed up getting the police involved to get the place opened up. So yeah, but for role playing, I think the seance is what we need to do next, because then Pete gets to talk to a dead woman who's really scary and evil.
Pete?
And I'll buy him some donuts on the way.
Hang on, I'm being summoned. Excuse me.
No problem.
See, so that's where my brain's at. So as long as you understand why it took me a little while to answer, that's why.
Window.
Very reasonable, I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because Fish is being driven by the fact that people are getting scared by stuff, and he just hasn't noticed really the visage that's doing all of this.
You've not seen that.
I mean, he's heard her.
What do you mean he's not noticed?
Well, in the car, didn't notice when she came at Sarah. I didn't see anything. And that's why I rolled the notice roll for just then to see if I would notice, and I got a double one. So I didn't, I might have heard something, but Fish doesn't think that it was aimed at him directly. He's literally about as oblivious to things going on because he's just fixated on the job at hand. He doesn't see stuff that goes round.
We're back, sorry.
So,
so seance first?
Just a thought, but Glenn Mack is the head of anthropology, which is a sister subject to archaeology. I imagine he has all the contacts we need to get a bit of ground penetrating radar equipment. But isn't Glenn Mack away at the moment?
Yeah.
Yeah, where is he?
No,
When's he
was
coming back?
Yesterday when you went to the office.
He wasn't there.
He wasn't there.
Oh, okay. So he just wasn't
Jackson
there.
might be able to help, but
yep,
because Jackson is Glenn Mack's right-hand student.
Yeah, he is.
So he might be able to get us the permission to use the equipment, or get a team to basically do the outside without too much of an issue. But yeah.
Okay. Do you want to go? What do you want to do then? Okay, so I'm going to go round the hall. And I'm going to.
Yeah,
I'm going to get a
seance.
And I'm going to get a perspective on this. So, Grace.
Yep.
Seance or science?
Yep. Seance. Go seance.
Fish?
I think we'll get more answers quicker.
Seance or science?
Seance for completely the wrong reasons.
Sarah, seance or science?
With the understanding that, I mean, from what I was hearing from Margaret, we're going to have to gather some stuff and all that crap. But yeah, it sounds good.
What do you mean it's going to extend the amount of time that you need to spend working out what's going on? There's me like, nice one, Rob. That'll make it much easier. We'll actually finish at 10 o'clock tonight and it'll be done. You're like, no!
I don't care. I'm happy with this. This is good.
Not a seance.
Okay.
Seance it is then.
Peter.
Andy, I didn't ask you because you already said silence. So I stuck with your original answer. Didn't think you were going to change it. Okay, Peter. So let's go and find
Peter,
Sonia
does
Alvarez.
this bring back any memories from Court of Blades? Does it, Peter? You're going to do a seance to the death. I'll be your second.
A seance to the death.
What do you think it should be to the death? Wait, what?
What?
That's so funny.
It wasn't that serious an insult. I mean, surely to first... No, to the death, to the death. He's very insulted.
I was so shocked as a game master, like, this is interesting. Where this is going?
Yes.
And to be fair, Pete, you sat there
3 whole weeks.
To be fair, Pete, you sat there and took it because you weren't in the room. You're like,
I couldn't say anything. I
that was amazing.
Had to sit there and steam.
Watch them. That was good stuff. Okay, carry on. Sorry.
You could probably see the vein throbbing in my forehead, though.
Oh my.
So, seance.
Okay.
Need to read up on
Alright.
rituals.
Don't worry about that. I got it under control. So,
Yay!
you head across campus and you find Sonia. She is in the basement with the lights low as per usual.
I'll stay outside with Fish.
Rattling away on a keyboard. That concerned look on her face. Her stark white hair. Clear in the gloomy light. She looks up. Hey! How's things? Fish, bring me good news. Gracie, tell me what's happening. And Andy, haven't seen you in a while.
It's been a month or two.
Was that Sarah I saw hanging around?
She's
Out the
upstairs, out the way. Yeah.
She's with us at the moment. I'm going to go and join her in a mo so she doesn't
Get into trouble.
do something stupid.
She had an encounter which she's struggling to come to terms with.
If she had an encounter, then maybe she should be in the room.
I'll go and
Well,
get
we've
them.
all kind of had the encounter, apart from Fish. Fish seems to be the only one who's really not seeing this damn woman.
Well, no, he just did on the staircase. Had to make an athletics roll, didn't he?
No. He didn't notice her, though.
Yeah,
Look,
I heard
as
her.
much as the player might be gaslighting you and saying that he hasn't seen it, he's seen her. Yeah. And every
His
single
notice
time,
roll was
every single
1 and
time
1.
he's gone,
It was 1 and 1.
Critical failure.
He keeps rubbing his forearm.
From where I can hear the words from down below,
He made the
I come join.
athletics roll to avoid Andy, who was hurling down the stairs at him.
calls you down.
It's
So-
all right. When the write-up comes up, we'll get the honest truth.
Yeah.
What's happening? You say you've had an encounter. What with? Not that.
A woman. A woman from 1927 who
Right.
seems to have murdered a boy in the old women's college.
What here?
Yeah, she was
Ah.
executed for it
That would
in
explain
Huntsville.
why. Show me what you've
seems to
got.
have
Show me your research
gone to-
notes.
So I'll pull out all the research notes.
pull
I'll
out-
pull out the newspaper
Let's have a-
documents and the
Yeah,
story about
let's
the
have a
woman.
montage. We'll have a montage where
Right,
we show.
so she reads through everything and she asks you what it is that you want to do, and you tell her that you want to have a hold of saints and speak to them. And so what you do is you go through the process of starting to set up for the seance, and she instructs you on things that you need to go and get. So she tells you that there are 3 things that you need for this particular ritual. You're going to need a child's toy, and that feels strangely poignantly relevant at this point. You're going to need a shard of broken bone china, but it has to be bone china. And you're going to need a bear's claw.
We're going to need a bear claw.
Oh.
Does she want a double macchiato with?
See, this
extra
is why it takes
cream
so
and-
long. This is why it takes so long. See?
It's
This is
what
why
it is.
3 sessions heading to 4. It's going to be 5, isn't it? This is why. Everyone's a bloody
Sonia?
comedian.
Yummy
Sonia,
bear claw.
Is that
Great for you,
is that a
Canada.
brown bear?
Oh, they're so
Sorry,
gorgeous, bear
Sonia,
claws.
is that a brown bear, a black bear, or a panda bear claw, or does it not matter?
Or a maple. A
It
maple
doesn't matter.
and cinnamon bear claw.
We need a
Okay.
bear
Yes, sun
claw.
bear for all I care. But then sun bears always just look like humans in bear suits, so yeah.
Okay. Well, the pawn shop might have a bear claw. Where would?
Might have.
Is there a
some of the other
taxidermist
stuff,
in
too.
town?
Ooh, I bet you there is.
Is there
Oh,
a
you
stuffed
bet there is.
bear in the same place that the
Google.
tiger was from?
There is that. The
Natural History
zoology.
Museum.
Natural history.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
who is going to look for the bear's claw?
I will with someone.
Sarah and
Come on, fish.
Andy will go with Sarah.
Andy.
Andy
Okay.
and Sarah. Okay, could the 2 of you please make academic rolls?
Dun, dun, dun.
Da, da, da.
Come on.
It definitely says in the description.
There it is.
Good job,
It
Andy.
definitely says in the description.
Just about scrape it. They were going to an all-night kegger, the 2 of them.
Hair that turned white.
I'm sure to find a bear claw here.
Probably so. So
Whose hair had
I
turned
need to
white?
change the stuff. I need to change the stuff. Why did it go, John?
Where did she
You're
go
the
this
best.
week?
Ah. I got
Okay,
it.
so we
All
got
right.
a success from Andy.
We did. So Sarah and Andy, you put your heads together and you recall, Andy, you recall that there was a recently a Native American dig that the archaeology department did, and they found some remnants. So maybe you can head over to the archaeology building and have a look and see if you can find something. What do you reckon?
If we can steal something. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, steal something. That's usually the way it works.
Borrow. We're going to put it back.
All right.
Assuming it doesn't like go up in flames during the ceremony.
Who's going to get a child's toy?
I'll do that. I think it's probably less creepy than fish trying to nab a child's toy.
Yeah. There's a little monkey that when you wind it up, it drums.
Not creepy at all. Yeah.
Oh,
See, I know where you can get a Chucky doll with a real looking knife.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to go get a child's toy.
All right. And finally, we're going to get a shard of broken bone china, which looks like it's going to be Fish who's going to go do that. Fish, how are you going to get some bone china? Would you like to make an academics check for me?
I was just going to go to my room and break my teacup.
Oh.
You have bone china teacup, do you, in your room?
I have 2 bone china teacups. I brought them over with me, and they were stuffed. Some socks were stuffed inside them, but I'd rather not because my grandmother gave it to me as a reminder of how we don't eat properly.
But they do need to be. But one of them does need to be broken.
Well, I would smash it.
Perfectly fine.
But no, I'll make a really stupid academics check to see if I can not have to break my own.
You sold me on the solution. So, Sarah and Andy, you rush over to the archaeology building, and it's later on in the evening. What you really need to do is convince somebody to tell you where some of these artifacts might be from this piece. Who might be the best person to do that?
Who's persuasive?
I mean,
From the
there's
looks of it,
gotta be
neither of them.
various different ways of persuading someone, hasn't there?
Well, it depends who it is. Let's figure that out first, Andy. If it's
Yeah.
someone
trying
from
to persuade?
All right.
Yeah.
There is somebody in one of the in one of the storage in one of the small labs that they have to the side of the storage rooms. There are a couple of students who appear to be working on some cataloguing. On the one side, there's a young, geeky-looking bloke with large glasses and lank hair, and on the other there is a very fierce-looking woman, probably a PhD student, given her age. She's a good few years older than you. Her hair's tied back.
It seems
She's
very
wearing some
obvious
goggles.
to me
It's
which
tidy
one we should
something.
each approach.
The geeky student. Yeah.
Yeah, so I head to the geeky student. I leave
Okay.
you with the fierce.
All right. 2 opportunities we've got here. Okay. So how are we going to go about persuading them? Okay, so let's have a persuasion check from Andy first.
Oh, he's so
Oh,
got to role play
monster.
it.
So you push open the door and you come in, you walk in and you say, "Hey," and you smile, and she turns and she looks at you and her face breaks. She just goes from, she's got this really fierce, very serious look on her face. She turns, she looks at you, and you look her straight in the eyes and you just grin at her. And she just seems to melt.
I love it.
Andy's a charmer. What can we
Go
say?
on, speak. Andy, tell me what you say, hey, but now what?
Small talk. Just basically
Okay.
just going to involve her in chat. Because
Right, that's
I've
lovely.
worked out with
Okay.
Sarah beforehand that I'm basically just going to distract her while Sarah can get into position to basically swipe a bear claw.
But you don't know where the bear claws are.
We're trying to
Oh,
find
sorry,
out.
I thought we'd already worked this out, and these
No.
were
You know
students
they have
cataloguing
some,
that
but you don't
dig.
know where they are.
So
key
this is
is
to
where
find out
are
where
they?
they are. Got it.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to try and swing the conversation round, basically saying I'd heard about this cool archaeology dig.
She goes and gets the box for you. She gets them out and she opens the box up, and then she's standing and she's standing looking at you, and she's kind of like this, and she's completely into you.
Yeah.
And you sort of wander around, you perch up on the desk, and you're all like this, and she's paying attention.
Make sure her back's to the
You're going to
box.
sneak over and just nick one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm gonna slip. I'm gonna not go to that guy if I see Andy's successful. I'm gonna slip around to try and do the thievery or stealth, whichever one you want.
Well, you know that's stealthy, isn't it? So
happy with that.
Yeah. Okay. So let's roll that then, please.
There it is.
Roll me some stealth. So literally, you just push the door open, which is perfectly oiled, because the thing about the archaeology department is they wouldn't put up squeaks, right? So you push the door open and you just walk in. She's got her back to you, and you can see the tray, and you literally just walk down. I mean, Andy, you don't even break this beautiful eye contact that you've got. And she's telling you all about her PhD thesis, and you're absolutely laughing. And you're just the way in which you're interacting with her. She's completely lost in you.
We're discussing archaeology in the British Isles, and
Oh yeah, all that whole conversation. You're telling her all about places that you visited and the relevance of them. Sarah just walks up, literally just picks it up. You stick it in your top, okay, and then you turn and you walk out the room, and then you spin and you push the door open in a flourish.
Andy, we gotta go.
Oh, hey Sarah. Sorry, I've got to catch you later.
Oh, okay then.
Go.
I'm sure he can give you his number.
Thanks. It's a really interesting discussion. We must do it later. It must continue it later.
You should give him your number.
Yeah, give me your number. Yeah.
It's the least you could do. I've got my camera out.
Yeah. And you, you head back across campus. Are you all okay? So where is that child's toy coming from, Grace?
There is probably I will tell you this. There's probably a nursery for the married folks. A daycare.
That's where I'm headed.
At the end of the day,
I don't know where it is.
Maybe you bought one of your favourite stuffies from.
There's that.
Not Mr. Biggles.
Yeah.
Mr. Bigglesworth. Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah.
I happen to have seen a pink unicorn on Sarah's side of the
That's perfectly fine.
room.
I love that.
No.
Yeah. So as you all meet back up, you all literally come back together at the same point. And Fish is walking along holding his cup, and he keeps looking at it, and he keeps sighing as he walks in the room, and he puts it on the table. And he's sighing, he's looking at this thing, and you can see it's really hurting him that he's got this little fine bone china cup. And Sarah just reaches inside her bra and just pulls out this bear claw and puts it on the table, and hey, like that. And then she turns, and there's this pink unicorn just comes along and gets put on the table, and she's like, "Hey, what is it?"
Oh, you sure we didn't need a mechanical leg?
Adora. Adora.
Dora.
Favorites.
Dora.
Absolutely.
Dora the Unicorn Explorer.
Dora or Eudora?
Adora.
Adora. Oh, sorry.
Adora. Okay. I thought it was Eudora.
Adora closed.
Yeah. A door gets closed. Okay.
So
great. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Sonia looks at the cup, and she looks at you, Fish, and she looks at the cup, and she takes out this tiny little silver hammer. She turns the cup upside down, and she goes, "Tink," and it just goes and shatters. She picks up one of the shards.
Grandmother.
If it helps, I know someone who just gets all right.
You can keep the rest.
She brings it over, and
back.
In the middle of the table there is a wooden bowl, and she places it inside. she places the unicorn in the bowl, and she places the bear claw in the bowl. She's laid out a circular table. Around the table are dotted 5 candles, 5 chairs, and the candles are lit. She dims the lights even further. There's still just enough to see, but it is now very dark in here, suffocatingly dark. Sit, please. Now, we shall commence. Hands. You join hands around the table. Hands are sweaty.
I'm trying to go to Grace and Andy. But my arm doesn't go that way. It's like...
Just, you sat at the table. It's all good. She starts a series of incantations using Thaddeus's name repeatedly. It is Thaddeus that you're calling, right? The kid, not the...
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep.
All right. Okay. Who is going to make the arcane rolls?
Andy.
Andy is.
Andy.
Yeah.
All right. So make the first one.
Yeah, we were
Make the
talking
first
about
one,
this
please, Andy.
ahead of time, John, because of his edge. His +2 would
psychically sensitive.
would
So
take off
+2
the minus
to my-
2 for his not being a ritualist beforehand.
Yeah, but she's
Okay.
the ritualist, so
But as long as you're part of a full ritual, then
yeah. So I get a +2 to this occult roll. Yeah.
nice.
Okay. Go for it then.
15.
Somebody's got talents.
Now, the rules say that we have to make 3 rolls in a row, but
Well, that's
It's a
2
lot of
rolls.
I don't know about
successes.
anybody else. I don't know about anybody else, but that seems like quite a lot of...
Of successes.
Quite a lot,
Yeah.
2
So
raises.
you feel this thickness to the darkness in this room. And you feel this presence swirling around you. At first, the presence is gentle. And then, suddenly, the light feels like it dims. And behind you and to your left, Andy, between you and Sonia, because she is sat to your left, you're sat to her right. Between the two of you, you feel something. And suddenly, the dark, snarling energy of the spirit of this woman screams at the two of you, cackling and screaming. And so, you're going to make a second roll. But before you do make the second roll, you're only going to make 2. Before you make the second roll, I need you to make a check to see if you can concentrate. And that is going to be...
It'd be spirit.
I think I just want you to make a straight spirit roll.
Yeah.
It's not a skill particularly.
Yeah.
And you continue to concentrate on this ritual
There we go.
as you do this. And the answer is absolutely.
Wow.
For some reason, you're ready for it. As the lights just dim, this time you're ready. And despite the interruption, the snarling and the screaming, and you can feel the shaking from Sonia Alvarez. You can feel her shaking in fear. But she holds firm, and the two of you, your hands mutually clasp together in strength, and you feel that strength, and you course the strength of the people around you. And everyone's effort you feel channeled through you, Make your final roll.
Here it goes.
The babbling, the screaming.
9.
Nice.
For our German viewers, that's a number, not the no, I didn't make it.
And this is why it takes so long.
And so,
9. Yeah.
despite the fury of this snarling, spitting spirit as it spins around the table, suddenly a bubble seems to grow around you. And although the spirit is still there, you can see it trying to push its way through some kind of invisible dome around you. And in the center of the table, standing on the table, seemingly, is a small boy. And he bends over and he picks up the pink unicorn. And he hugs it. And he smiles and he giggles. I'm down below. I'm down below. You'll save me, won't you, mister? You'll save me.
We'll find
Find me,
you.
won't you, mister? Look for me below.
We'll find you and make sure you get a decent Christian burial.
That's it, mister. Free my earthly remains. And then this old woman, she won't have anything over me anymore. He'll go and face her judgment, and I'll be free to leave this earth. Finally. Find me below. Find me below. And he fades. And the unicorn tumbles back to the table and lands with a plop in the bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
All right.
that was intense.
That was.
See, what I should have done was I should have gone like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it felt like that would have been
It
rude.
was good narrative. Worked. That's awesome. Oh. What are we gonna do? Dr. Alvarez? How can
I think we need that ground penetrating radar.
You definitely need the ground penetrating radar.
At least we've confirmed it.
Yep.
What was that thing, she said? What was it? That must be that.
That was the woman who murdered the boy.
Yes. The Mrs. Claiborne.
Yes.
That is an angry spirit. But
Hang on.
did you notice something?
Christine, are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay, it's just that your cat was having a fit.
No, it was. I was watching it.
It was. Big time. The face was going all over it, and then the eyes. I'm never going to forget those eyes. They went round and round. It was like boogly eyes. I was like, what's happening with Christine? Sorry, John. I do apologise for interrupting. I seriously thought Christine was having a problem somewhere.
What did
The
we
cat was having a fit.
Room. Oh, it's like, you know.
What did we see? What did we see about the spirit?
The cat was
Did you notice something?
channeling Mrs. Claiborne.
The Mrs. Claiborne, the Mrs. Claiborne spirit. Did you notice that it couldn't do anything?
Can only scream and scare
Yes.
people.
It was terrifying. I was terrified. But then it couldn't do anything. Couldn't interact with anything.
No
Couldn't
corporeal
touch it.
manifestation.
No. All it can do is appear. It's stuck.
Mm.
It's stuck between worlds, but in all its violence, in all its fury, all it can do is frighten.
Well, fish
And
would
if
be
you don't
pleased.
fear, it has no power.
I mean, Fish's last experience with a seance was a bit traumatic, I hear. I know why he's called Fish now. Because basically
Crabs like to eat me.
gutted Leica.
Like fish in a barrel.
Yes.
Yeah, shooting fish in a barrel or gutted like a fish. Yes.
or stitched up like a kipper, whichever way you want to put it.
Yeah, stitches.
Yeah.
next.
He's
I
definitely
haven't done it. Just point that out.
No, you didn't. You didn't. You're
I nearly did everybody in the car.
There's still
but that was
time.
a different thing.
more generous than Anthony.
There's still time.
All right, so what's your plan, folks? Because it's
He
getting
could-
late now.
He could
Yeah.
throw his back out, lifting the ground penetrating radar.
Okay, so we're gonna. I think we should head off and try and see Jackson Green.
Yeah,
I'm
Sonia
just going to
Alvarez,
nick it. I'm
her
just
way
going
of
to nick
Jackson
doing
it.
this
Green.
stuff, her
Or
way of doing stuff is all through the spiritualism, whereas Glenn Mack and his group, that's all the science side. So
Yeah.
probably, absolutely,
Yeah.
makes sense to me.
If we think,
Glenn Mack
if
might
we
be
think the
back.
geology department's got it, then I'm just going to go over and blag it and say
late at
Glenn
night,
Mack's asked us to.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, yeah,
it's now locked. Excellent. Okay, so we're going to just nick it.
Okay, now how do we explain to the police what we're doing with
yeah. The alarms that go off. No,
The only
let's
reason
just-
why you can't just rest and then
Yeah.
pick things
Yeah.
up in the morning.
Let's rest and talk to Glenn Mack in the
Okay.
morning. I'm going to send Glenn Mack a message.
Yeah.
If you give me
I'm gonna send
an
him an
extra
email.
penny for resting, I will let it rest.
We've already got 4.
But come
What
on,
are you complaining
we
about?
are so close. We know where the body is before we actually had the seance, or we thought we knew.
Right.
Now we definitely know. So,
got it. So now we've slept.
Hold on. You're going to go and rest overnight. Everyone goes back to their dorms and has a good night's sleep. Gets up in the morning. As long as we don't have to have 25 minutes of bacon, we can get on with our day.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's go over to Glenn Mack's office.
Actually,
Is that
if
what
we've
we've
got
got? You just-
25
you don't
minutes of
wanna have the
bacon, we've still got
25
4 minutes to find the data.
Yeah.
Okay, we're Glenn
Glenn
Mack's
Mack's
office.
office. Is he there?
Yeah.
Did
No.
he get my email?
Damn it, he's not there.
Is Jackson there?
Is Jackson Green there?
No.
I'm going to phone him
Okay, why?
because we need someone to persuade the archaeology department to let us borrow their.
You need somebody to persuade someone in the archaeology department, do you?
Oh well, maybe if that PhD student has access to it.
Ah,
I'll,
Come on!
and,
I'll
you've
give
got
her
her
a
number.
I'll give her a call and head over.
You've got her number.
Come on!
Yeah,
I got
all
your
right.
number written on the back of my head.
Okay, we'll go with that route. Okay.
Oh.
Oh, I thought you'd never call, Andy.
Exactly!
I honestly thought that was a blow off last night.
Yeah.
I don't mind blowing
brilliant.
you off.
Anyway,
I got a little explaining to do to my girlfriend.
Oh, don't worry. Evil Lynn can join us.
anyway. So, what do we get that and are moving across, or
I think we
Okay.
need someone to help me
She can come with us. Yeah, I mean, come with
get
us
the
and help us
data
use
on
the
the
equipment.
on the laptop and shit. So
Yep.
so I need to find out what we need, how to connect it. And well, I mean, I can work out how to connect it, and then we really need someone to be able to read the figures. So ideally, if she can, then she should come with us.
Well, she probably is very. Yeah, I'll
That's what
explain.
I'm thinking.
absolutely?
Yeah.
If you explain it, she's
Yeah.
probably going
I'll
to be interested.
I'll
mean,
show her
she-
this. Look, we think there's a body buried under here from 1927.
Yeah.
That's archaeology. Well,
And,
it is.
and it's an
it's-
area
it
of
is
the
in
building
America.
that
It is
nobody's
in
ever
America,
been able
yeah.
to get to because it was burnt down. They should
So
be
you,
interested
so
in
what
that.
you do is you basically you all rest overnight, and then the
Yep.
following morning
Yep.
you go to the archaeology department and you unleash the Andy.
Yep.
And Andy, you
Yes.
go in and actually she's sitting in the same lab, but she's dressed differently. She hasn't got her things on and she hasn't got her lab coat on at this point. I mean, to say that she was wearing like an overall because she was actually cleaning up some samples. So she had a little power tool and was cleaning up some samples. And you go, and she smiles. She says, "Hey, Andy, great to see you. Good to see you this morning. I mean, it's lovely. Oh, we didn't get a proper introduction last night. I'm Carol Jane, CJ.
Carol Jane.
DJ, Carol Jane. Right.
Nice.
Okay.
That's more for you, Anthony.
Yep, we'll get it.
Yeah.
Christine's gonna be the one that gets it.
So,
Very good.
what brings you back?
Well,
Hey, should we maybe get a coffee?
I'd love to get a coffee, but I've got a very interesting project that you might be interested in. A little bit of reasonably recent archaeology. Do you want to solve a murder from 1927?
1927, I suppose. It is archaeology.
Yeah.
I guess the police wouldn't have that on their books.
Well,
I think any perpetrator's going to be long gone, huh?
Oh well, they executed the murderer back at the time, but they never found the body of the victim.
Oh,
and we think we know where the body is. We do.
Wow.
But we think that the body was buried in the basement of the building that was there at the time, which has since been built over.
Wow. So where's this?
It's in the William Greystone building.
What,
So
here on campus?
Absolutely. So we think
wow.
We think that underneath the basement in that building, we've got the original plans for the original building. We've mapped them as close as we can. We think buried under the concrete is the body of the child
in a wine cellar.
Murdered.
There was all that microfiche you guys went through too. I mean,
there's
been a lot of research.
Yeah,
a lot of research.
Like almost weeks, except faster.
It's been months and months of research. I mean, we were at the newspaper for 6 months. You're 3 months pregnant.
It just felt like it.
Anyway, but what we need is we need obviously a way of looking through the concrete, which we think you may be able to help with.
DPR, huh?
Yeah.
Give me a minute, she says. She walks across, opens this door. Chad!
Chad. Lovely.
Chad.
Chadamo.
The tall, skinny, geeky looking guy with the lank hair. Yeah? Can you get the GPR rig and bring it this way? And so you find yourself marching across campus with this rather twitchy, stinky guy wheeling this little machine along. Let me show you what it looks like.
Nice.
Just give me a moment.
It's a little thing on a trolley normally, isn't it? It's a very low sunk to the ground, small wheels.
That's what I was going
Can't believe that. I can't believe it's making me do it again.
It's all good.
Okay. Show to everyone. There we are.
Oh, there it is.
Nice. Perfect.
And he's wheeling it along, and he's got a rucksack on, a really quite heavy looking rucksack with loads of like gear in it as well.
Nice.
And you can see he's huffing and puffing, and a lot of you are like, and she keeps turning around, and she's chatting away to you, Andy. She's like, oh, she's chatting away to you, But come on, Chad, keep up. She keeps demonstrating.
That's what seniority is. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Poor kid's like,
yep.
She's like puffing and puffing as you walk
Love
across.
it.
That's what
Come
freshmen
across
are
the
for,
building.
carrying the
Exactly.
stuff.
And I mean, you do help him because this thing is actually quite hefty, and you get it in the door, and you just the door is still unlocked, and it looks like nobody's been here overnight, and you carry it down the stairs and into this basement area. So you carry it down into here. So where are you going to start? Just in this corner, and just
Yeah,
Wheel it up and
basically,
down?
we're just gonna. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, bottom
we
of
should
the
be able to
stairs
cover
in
a
the
very
room.
large area very quickly.
he cracks out various bits of kit, and they have a whole discussion about it, and they line out some notes on the floor, and they wheel this thing up and down, and CJ and Chad are just talking away. She keeps coming over, and then she keeps the rest of you are noticing this. She keeps coming over to Andy, and at various points she'll chat to Andy, and then at one point she sort of sidles up to him and she sort of holds onto his arm, and she's just like and she's just touching him all the time, and the lot of you are like, ooh. Sarah, what are you doing, Sarah?
Oh,
When this happens, Sarah, what
that's
do you do?
that's all on camera. Don't worry.
Unfortunately,
Unfortunately, I think his face is going to get blocked out at least half the time because of some virusy thing that's been put on by fish. But it's worth a try.
That's true. Yeah.
And so you spend about an hour in this basement wheeling it up and down, and eventually they load the gear up onto this laptop, and they're looking through all of the things. They're looking through the different points, and to you, it just to the four of you, it makes no sense. To you, it's like whatever. But CJ gets really, really excited. Anyway, she's talking. They're talking to one another, and you hear something about getting out the heavier gear, and his shoulders drop, and he looks like this, and off he goes. And she marks out in chalk on the floor this area here. This is where we need to do it. Here we're back, and you all take a break for coffee. And about 20 minutes later, he comes back, and he's carrying, like a pelly case, like a big plastic case, and it's obviously very, very heavy. And he puts it on the floor, and then you find a socket, and you find that he pulls out an extension lead. You pull the extension lead round into the area, and plug it in, basically in the small room here.
Nice.
In that small basement room, you plug it in, and he opens this up, and inside is basically a hand jackhammer. It's the kind of thing you see builders like, knocking down stuff. And anyway, so he starts jackhammering.
Is Femi coming in and looking at what we're doing?
You haven't seen Femi. You haven't seen anybody this morning. Is anybody helping out here?
I'm going to
let him do all the heavy work.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask, what do you think you found?
Oh, there's definitely something under here.
Yeah, but what is it?
Well, it looks to me like it could be a body. Not sure 100%, but it looks like it could well be.
Hey, let's get digging then.
Okay. I sent a text
And we've got
message to
permission?
Alvarez. You might want to come discreetly. I think we've just solved a 98-year-old case.
Is that Detective Alvarez?
That's Detective Alvarez.
Yeah.
Well done.
Don't bring dogs. The archaeology department are currently digging up precisely. And
they're taking photos, they're documenting everything, they're doing a beautiful job.
Well done.
It takes a couple of hours.
I think Detective Alvarez is going to be in the hospital, you know. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that he was near death.
It was. Yeah, we could look on the calendar. But I think he probably could come limping in just so you guys can take
he
good
would
credit.
send somebody
He's probably on desk
to
duty.
the campus in his
There you go.
stead. But he's our main contact, so...
Fair enough.
It was basically
So,
2 weeks ago.
Oh, it was.
He was on death's door.
Yeah,
Yeah,
then I come back
else.
down. Then I come back down, and I just say, look, I've let Alvarez know. He'll more than likely send somebody to come on down, because if you think it's a body, the coppers need to be aware, because this is an old closed case.
I mean, these guys are documenting everything. They're taking photos or whatever, and they dig the concrete out. They dig this square of concrete out, and then you have to start digging by hand. There's ground underneath.
I'm going to get my stun gun out, just in case somebody taps me on the shoulder and says, "Fish, there's the woman in black," and I didn't notice her. I can turn around and shoot her.
Yeah.
You know, in the same way as she can't interact with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Cool.
The two prongs
Andy,
shoot through the
Fish,
wispy figure
black.
and bury themselves in Andy's butt.
Awesome. Cool win.
Or Detective Alvarez.
Yeah. Poor guy.
Okay, 10 minutes, guys. 10 minutes, guys. Come on.
Come on.
Right. So they document this, and after a number of hours, a couple of detectives turn up who introduce themselves. They're friends with Detective Alvarez, and they observe, and they dig down, and they bring some crime scene people with them. But they realise that there's probably not a lot of point in having crime scene people.
While the digging is going on, we show them the evidence. We explain the case,
the blueprints, everything.
Show them the
you basically go through everything. They take a series of statements from you. You document everything, and you find eventually you get through, and it's quite deep actually. It's a good 4 feet from where the concrete was, then through a layer of compacted that you think would have been like would have been a base layer below the concrete would have been poured onto, and then below that actually into earth, and it's hard compacted earth. And you dig through the hard compacted earth, and you get to the skeletal remains of a child. And over the course of the rest of the day, over the course of the rest of the Friday, the body is uncovered, and it causes a bit of a sensation locally that this body has been recovered after so long, and reporting is done by the Pine Box Gazette, and everything is
nice.
Everything, you're momentarily famous for about 48 hours.
We'll make sure that we say how helpful the Pine Box Gazette was in doing the research.
Yeah.
We'll name check all of the important people.
Yeah.
Chad and CJ in archaeology, and we'll make sure everyone gets their.
There's plenty of positives to go round, and that is the case.
Awesome.
Okay.
Great, John.
I was just typing out before you mentioned about the Pine Box Gazette, because previously when we've actually done something that was kept hush type thing, but was reported, we've stayed anonymous. So I was going to suggest that we name the main people that were compromised, which was, what's the name? Not Janice, Sherry and Sarah. So that they get their 20 minutes of fame, and I can walk away and not be mentioned in any newspapers, because I don't want to be identified.
Okay. Fish. So Fish, your name is kept out of it. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
If anybody else wants to be like that, that's not an issue.
Nope. Sarah.
Well, I was only involved at the end, but yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
So,
I've got to go pee.
before we finish, please, please don't. Just,
go ahead.
Briefly, just hold. Just before we finish.
Yeah, no.
Over the next few months, you return to the rhythm of life as a student at ETU. From time to time, you experience that familiar crackle, the dimming of the light. And out of the corner of your eye, or maybe in the distance, you glimpse the angry, vengeful spirit of Mrs. Claiborne. But you know that it has no power in this world. So you find yourselves on a dreary day in early February, attending Carson's funeral home in Pine Box, for a short service. It's just you and Detective Alvarez sitting on the front row with the tiny coffin on the stand at the front. A young priest comes in and welcomes you. He conducts a short service of remembrance and prays for the soul of Thaddeus. You all feel something within you lighten. The priest comes over and introduces himself, Father O'Leary. He shakes you by the hand and thanks you for coming. You notice his cheeks are wet with tears. As you leave, you see the digital calendar clock on the car dealership opposite flick to the date, February the 11th. Somewhere, far away, you fancy you hear cackling laughter abruptly stop and a scream of endless terror begin.
Ooh.
Oh my God. I reckon that would have been a
Well done.
grandson, maybe, of Thaddeus's line.
O'Leary.
How old is the priest? He's young, you say. So yeah, probably a grandson.
I'm sure he was an O'Leary. He wasn't an O'Reilly, was he?
No, he wasn't O'Leary. He was O'Leary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
Thaddeus O'Leary, yeah.
98. Maybe the priest is connected somehow. If he was
Well,
older,
I mean,
yeah.
his mother could have had another
son-line.
child.
Yeah.
So this could have been
So
his sort of
it could have been
great uncle.
his brother. No, it wouldn't
He's
have been
a
his
young
brother
priest.
because he would have been old. He would have been in his 90s, wouldn't he?
I
But
think
maybe
a
the
great
son,
uncle is
so-
more likely.
Great or
so
great
it would
uncle,
have
yeah.
been-
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was fitting. That was very nice, John.
If you got all the way to the end, we appreciate your support. Thank you for watching the NVRA whilst we bring you content of different games. If you like what we have done, please like and subscribe.